Hey, I'm Craig, and today for the Surfboard Guide, we're going to do something a little bit different. Normally known for our board reviews, we're actually going to specifically check out a fin, and it is a new H4 by FCS. So you've probably seen the H4 over the last probably 6 months or so it's been on the market. It's a pretty unique looking fin. There aren't many fins on the market that look like this. So due to that, I was pretty keen to check it out. I remember probably 10 or 15 years ago, FCS brought out the H2, which was a big hit with a lot of people, a pretty unique looking fin as well. And I think this has kind of come off the back of that. So the construction is a little bit different. As you can see, it kind of looks like it's like a stainless steel or something like that. And it's Swiss made, but it's carbon fiber injected or something. And it just feels amazing in the hands and that. It just feels like a high quality product. Most fins feel pretty good in their finish, but this feels like something like you'd almost want to hang up on your wall. It's pretty impressive. And this is the large. To test out the H4, I got a board that I think a lot of people are familiar with, and it's a favorite of mine, and it's a Hypto Krypto by Haydenshapes in FutureFlex. And this is a stock 5.8 at 31 liters. So the thing that I guess FCS have been pushing with the H4 is that their tagline for it is think speed. So what I'm thinking with this is a fin that is going to be fast and getting older, you know, surfing pretty average waves most of the time. I want as much speed in my boards and my equipment as I can. So I was pretty keen to check this out. You know, I surfed, actually ended up surfing the H4 in a couple of different boards, but mainly in this, and the footage you'll see on the review is on the Hypto Krypto as well. And I did notice, like, it wasn't an overly, like, I didn't get up and go like 100 Ks faster than I ever been before, and I haven't measured my speed with any like GPS surfing watches. But what I did notice, which I thought was pretty impressive with the H4 was, you know, you might take off and you get a lot of speed through your bottom turn, but when you're kind of connecting sections, you know, maybe getting ahead to like a closeout to do a floater or something, I didn't find myself having to like, you know, and the footage we got, there's a pretty weak kind of swell. The waves look okay, but it's fairly weak. I didn't find myself having to like hammer the board to get it going like I maybe normally would if I rode like a fin that I normally like, say like the Chloe Andino or the large Almeric template. It felt like it had a lot of, it kept gliding. So the energy that I put into the board and the fin, it gave it a little bit more push. I didn't find myself having to like wiggle, 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 put heaps in just to connect those sections that were pretty dead and pretty lifeless. So I surfed the H4 in a fair variety of conditions, probably from kind of like, I surfed in some pretty bad waves in like the 1 foot range with a lot of not much push. And I guess if you're getting a chance to surf and you know you're not always looking for the best conditions, you're just surfing when you can, I guess you want something, you're going to go surfing in those crappy conditions, you want something that's going to work and make your surfing a little bit better. And the H4 I did feel was a lot more lively and gave a little bit more speed to the board and to that surf and made it much more enjoyable. I surfed it in waves up to around like 4 to 5 foot, like just kind of well overhead with a bit of punch, and it felt really, really good. I ended up riding it also in another board, the Hot Knife by Chile, and it felt really good in that. It was a 510, more of a kind of shortboard shape, and I rode that in that 4 to 5 foot range, and it felt really good. What kind of blew me away is, like, you look at this fin, it is very uniquely different to, you know, your normal kind of, you know, template or whatever, but it didn't feel like crazy different. Like, it didn't feel like I was getting on something, you know, that was, I was going to have to learn to surf again. You know, first few waves felt a bit weird. I felt like I'd go into a roundhouse, and I felt that this would almost not fight with the edge, but I had to kind of move my foot around to go through a wrap because I was kind of catching. But once I sussed that out after 2 or 3 waves, it felt really, really natural. I thought there might be a whole kind of learning process surfing a fin that is so uniquely different, but it wasn't. It was pretty easy to surf. And in those conditions, kind of 1 to 4 foot, you know, it felt lively, it felt fast. I wasn't going like 100 Ks faster than I normally would. I'd love to, but I wasn't. But it did feel like it pieced sections together. And I was having to do less work to piece those sections together than I would say on my normal, you know, AMs, Chloes, whatever you normally ride. So yeah, overall, I thought it was a pretty good fin. We're going to do some stuff with some wave pools soon. We might get this in there as well. You know, wave pools are known for being really fun, but maybe having a little bit less push than waves in the ocean. So I'd recommend the H4 might be a pretty good fin for a board that you might be taking in a wave pool. But yeah, for the waves we surfed it in, general beach breaks, you know, not a lot of push, you know, okay to average conditions. The H4 felt mental. Yeah, and like I said, as well as the extra speed, the other thing that I really enjoyed, it wasn't like a whole learning process to get onto this fin from the fins I normally rode. Felt a little bit different first couple of waves, but not really hard to get used to, you know, and probably not too different to go from like, you know, an upright to a raked fin if you're used to a certain template. So overall, I was a big fan of the H4. I wasn't quite sure, I was a little apprehensive looking at it at first, but I was keen. chat with the guys at FCS, and have a chance to check these out. And also, in everyone's favourite, the Hypto Krypto. I'm sure most people out there have ever ridden one, or if you haven't ridden one, you've definitely seen one in the lineup. Anyway, thanks for checking out, and check out our Instagram at the Surfboard Guide, and I'm actually going to give a chance to give these FCS H4s away to one of our lucky followers. Thanks so much for watching.